Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Carroll. This is our political special. You know, we have an election soon, looming, soon, like really soon. So we thought it would be appropriate and kind of fun to let the master channelers that we have in our team kind of weigh in on the energy of this, the times, all that is. And so you're going to hear from the three team member channelers that we have. And the first one's going to be Prageet Harris. Now, Prageet Harris, very busy guy from Stargate, and you probably have heard him before. And he channels Alcazar and many others. We don't know how many he's going to bring in or whether he's going to stick with Alcazar. That's always a mystery, as it should be. And then after him, I will say hello to Marilyn Harper, and she's going to be channeling Adirondda. Also, Marilyn brings in many entities, and you never know which one's going to pop in. And then after Marilyn, there will be, of course, Kryon. Now, Kryon brings in one. that would be Kryon. So that's what the show is going to be. So let's start it by bringing in Prageet Harris.
Beloved ones, we greet thee. It is Alcazar. And it is a great honor for us to be talking with you at this time as your American elections draw closer. And so we have been invited to say a few words. In order to address your elections, it is important to take a look at what is occurring in the larger picture. What is occurring in your country, what is occurring in the world, and more importantly, what is occurring in consciousness. For as you are all aware, change is happening very rapidly on your earth. So, from our perspective, we wish to say a little about what we see. For us, it is not about politics. It is not about one party or the other, one set of ideals over another. It is about transforming the consciousness of humanity. At this time, your politics is not interested in consciousness. Yet consciousness is the critical factor in creating change. Without a raising of consciousness, change will not occur. Yes, the faces will be different. This party or that party, this politician or that politician. But consciousness is needed to create the evolution of change that is needed here on your earth desperately. As most of you are aware, your earth is suffering. Your forests are being depleted. Your air is being poisoned, as is your water. The soils are being poisoned and depleted. And yet, those who are in control, your politicians, who are strongly influenced, to put it nicely, by the corporations. Your politicians are not interested in truly creating change. Their interests are personal. There are very, very few individuals in your political system whose heart is about true change. Most of your politicians pay lip service to the critical issues, but continue in the old ways. And your societies decline. The support systems for your people collapse. More and more are homeless, hungry. Those who are eating foods with very little nutrition. This, your country of America, which is said to be one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful country in the world, is for many people a living nightmare. So this is the situation in your America right now. And so now an election is upon you. So what does this mean? You will be invited to go and vote for this person or that person. But who do you know? How do you choose? Is there a choice in reality? Beloveds, if you wish to influence what is occurring in your country, in your America, raise your vibration. Whether you put a tick in one box or another will not change anything. Yes, the faces will change, but the influences which truly affect what is occurring in your country, they will continue. If you look around right now, you can see separation is happening on a grand scale. People are being isolated from each other. We will say this: it is no accident what is occurring with this so-called COVID-19 virus. It is not an accident. It is creating separation. It is creating the opportunity of maintaining the status quo. Because in the past, the level of consciousness has not been very high. In your 2012, things started to change. Humanity's consciousness started to rise quite rapidly. And those who had their fingers on the controls, so to speak, could feel the resistance from those people awakening, could feel more and more people saying, no, I do not want to live in a world of separation. I do not want to live where there are constant wars occurring. I do not want to support billions upon billions of dollars being spent on armaments, when there are those living on the streets, when there are thousands hungry. This upwelling of, no, it is time to change. And so consciousness started to raise. And those who are interested in maintaining the status quo had to do something. And you have now got a situation where people around the world are separating themselves, even from their close relatives. There are people committing suicide out of aloneness and depression. Beloveds, if you wish to change the world, if you wish to change your country, raise your vibration. It is time for oneness, not separation. It is time to move beyond this duality into oneness. The Stargate emphasizes oneness, bringing in the vibration of oneness. We have for many weeks created a series, a daily program, all about oneness. Supporting you, thousands of you around the world, bringing your energies together to elevate not only your own level of awareness, but supporting that planetarily. And it had a beautiful effect. And so, beloved ones, right now, where is your focus? Do you wish to focus on this party and condemn the other? Or this party and condemn this one? Can you not see your political system is divisive? You watch your television and you see these parties attacking each other, focusing on the negative. How many political advertisements have you seen that have said, this is a beautiful aspect of my opponent's plan? No. So what do you do? How do you influence? A good question. For us, as we have said, it is time to raise your vibration. It is time to become more conscious. We are not here to say vote for this or vote for that. We would suggest, if you choose to vote in these elections, with each candidate, take a moment, tune in, ask your superconsciousness, your higher self, what is the most appropriate choice to make here? And then you move to the next. What is the most appropriate choice to make here? And follow the guidance of your superconsciousness, the message that comes through your intuition. This is a strange way to vote. This we understand. But we would suggest that your superconsciousness is aware of the national, the international, the global picture. Because what occurs in your America affects the whole world. Your American system influences, both visibly and perhaps more strongly, invisibly, what is occurring in the rest of the world. It is time to see the reality in which you live. It is time to see what is really being said, what is really being done. We have been talking with those who have followed our program, the Oasis of Oneness. We have been assisting you to feel the energy behind the words, to feel what is really being transmitted, not in the context of the words, but the energetic behind them. What is the energy when a politician talks to you? What is they saying underneath? Are they just saying words to make you feel good? Or are they genuinely putting love and care into that which they are saying? Is there truth in their words? Similarly, when you are watching your television, you're watching the news broadcast, what is the energy behind the words? What is really being transmitted? Are they bringing you up in your awareness, or are they pushing you down into depression, hopelessness? For this is what appears to be happening around your world. So then what happens? People feel helpless, hopeless. They do not feel like they can change anything. And this creates an upwelling of frustration and anger. And then violence occurs. We can see from our perspective that the energetic that is already created, which is already being formed around your election and post-election, that is being organized violent protests. It is already being organized, beloved ones. For some of you, this might be very hard to hear. Raise your vibration. Start taking responsibility for your own actions. Start deeply meditating. It is time to change the vibration on your earth, the vibration in your America. You can only do this by raising your vibration. If you bring this together, thousands of you, your vibration will support those who are coming from a place of love and caring. You will support those individuals who will not be manipulated by the powers that be, who will stand up to what their conscious and consciousness tells them. They will indeed act on behalf of the people they represent. You can support them energetically. This is a long-term process. More and more people are turning to meditation. From our perspective, there is a great opportunity in these times. An opportunity to awaken, to see what is occurring in the world around you, and to say, I need to participate in change. Some of you will be drawn to assist in many ways, but all of you can assist by raising your consciousness, meditating. Find a system that works for you. Join the thousands of people meditating in the Stargate way, if this appeals to you. If not, find a technique, a method that allows you to move deeper into consciousness, to evolve your own self, to raise your vibration permanently. This is the key to change. This is the way. This is the only way humanity can evolve. Beloveds, it is a matter of survival. It is up to you. In terms of your election, which we haven't talked much about, In terms of your election, follow your intuition, person by person. Take your time, listen, and follow your truth. We are Alcazar, in love with humanity. We hold the highest vision of what can occur here. Beloveds, it is time. It is time to be free. It is time to know thyself. It is time to claim your autonomy. It is time to bring your energy into oneness, into the whole, into that energetic which will truly bring this earth into the magical place it is designed to be. We are with you. We are here to support you. Enjoy the dance.
Thank you, Prageet, very, very much. Very insightful. Love everything you always have to say, my friend. And thank you for participating in the show. We'll go right now to Marilyn Harper and Adironda.
So it is good day to you, huh? Oh, so very good to see your energy, your light, your brightness, your divine presence, dearest divine beings of light. We see that this is the time that those that are predicting things are predicting, huh? They are stirring up the pot, as it would be, stirring up the energy. Oh, it's going to be scary, not good, fire in the streets, explosions, blah, blah, blah. It all is possible, as it can be. We are not going to tell you who is going to win the election of the presidency of the United States of the Americas. Instead, we're going to help you understand that no matter what happens, it is best for the light plerkers. As you know, play plus work equals plerk. The light plerkers of humanity to continue to band together, to continue to acknowledge that energy, to continue to hold the frequency of love. We know no matter what side you're on, no matter whether you are on this side, or the redhead side, or the white-haired side, we do not know. But things will change regardless. And you cannot have a say in it, or complain, or say that it's not worth it, or you can't do that, or there's no reason to do this because it's just a waste of time, without getting out and stating your opinion. And what do they call it? Voting. For if you do not do that, then you might as well sit back and not even mention anything. You must state your opinion. And at this point, the only way you can state your opinion is by voting. We know, we hear you saying, but why good? What good does it do? It's not going to make any difference. And it may not. You see, the one that is presently in office, a part of his job is to bring up everything that is not in integrity. And there are many who would say, the vessel Marilyn is talking to me, so we're going to let her be quiet and just push her into a soundproof booth because she's got some specific opinions and they do not necessarily agree with ours. No matter what the outcome is, You, as a light plucker, must ask for the most benevolent outcome, the most benevolent energy, the most benevolent information. For with that most benevolent information, you get the opportunity to shift. You get the opportunity to accommodate that which is for the greater good of all. The one who is indeed presently in office has done things legally or illegally, has made the changes that they chose to make, whether they did so with legal boundaries or without legal boundaries. The changes were still made. Some were for the best, some were not. Some were stating their opinions were clear, and some did not. But what he has done is highlighted the fact that there is a call and a need for a vast change. Now, the other candidate, the white-haired one there, he may not be able to get anything done either. But the key is he can be a part of the change. So no matter what it is that you are asking for, know that you must be present. You must get out of your sofa and quit complaining about things. Well, no matter what direction you're looking, and let your voice be heard. For you see, when your voice is not heard, then there is no reason to voice it. And we believe, dearest beings of light, that your opinion is valuable. Your opinion is the part of this nation that is what it was built upon. The freedom to connect, the freedom to be in that present place of love. We don't know that either candidate is wrapped in love, but we do know that you, dearest being of light, you can exceed what appears to be a government in upheaval, what appears to be a country out of balance, what appears to be a country and a planet in turmoil. The story is not necessarily what it appears to be. The background, the foundation for humanity that is legally presented to humanity is not necessarily what you might expect it to be. There is a great deal that goes on governmentally. That is what we call, or someone called, we just heard the term, wag the dog. To create a commotion over here so others are not looking over here to see what was going on. We believe that is a great deal of this administration. We also believe that this administration has made some vast changes, and some of which were good. We also know that this administration is not abiding by the laws of this land, and some of which might be good, some of which might not be good. And they need to be reevaluated. So you see, how is it that you are choosing to make your voice heard? How is it that you are connecting with that love center that is within you to be guided truly with love? So when you have a vice president that is coming into play, change of the status quo is good. Change of the energy is good. Without the name calling, without the pointing fingers, without any of that. Look at what is being represented by your own belief system. You see, your belief system is what matters. Your own morality, if you want to call it that, which has nothing to do with sexual encounters, but morality, your own belief in humanity is what is important here. So what do you believe? What is it that you feel would create the most benevolent outcome for this country? And then for this world. For you see, the United States of the Americas are leading the way, financially and politically. There are many who do not like us internationally as a country for some of the travesties that have and atrocities that have happened. That is indeed what needs to change. There must be a new breath of air in the White House, whether it is a red-headed breath of air or a white-headed breath of air. Which do you feel brings the most love, benevolence, astounding creativity, grit? Isn't that what they call it? Grit, chutzpah. Respect and honor to their fellow human. That is the direction that you could choose. You see, that respect comes from the top. That honoring comes from the top and trickles down through all of the peoples of this planet. So in that capacity, dearest, let us ask your heart, what would the most benevolent, honoring respect in choice be? We hear some of you say, well, there isn't one. But there must be. Because a choice to not choose is also a choice. And when you choose not to choose, then you lose your rights to speak forth and state your opinion. You see, dearest, when you bring together the light plerkers of humanity, and every day at 11:11, we see and hold the energy for the most benevolent outcome for this election. It at least then has a choice, or it has a chance anyway. It is extremely possible that the person who is voted in by the people, once again, will not be the leader, or the one who maintains or takes the office. So that is why it is necessary for your voice to be heard. It is time that the governing bodies of this land be shifted and placed back into an element of integrity, placed back into an element that the founding fathers tried to bring forth. We the people, not we the rich people, we the people, not we the white people, we the people, not we the yellow people, but we the people, all colors, all creeds, all beliefs can be heard in this country, theoretically. It is time to get back to those roots, which may have been even before this country was formed. Or maybe it is better to say it is time to move forward and create new roots, pave the way for a new element of government, pave the way for maybe a feminine aspect of government or a balance of both masculine and feminine. A balance, not a dictator. Let us move forward, forming a government that has never been before, that actually accepts all people as equal, no matter what their color are, no matter what their income is, no matter what their beliefs are, no matter what their orientation is. But the one thing they have in common is that they are human, mostly. And bring that element of an integrity to the leadership of this humanity. So however you vote, know that you are voting for something that is also down the line in the future. So what future would you like to see? What future would you like to see? One that eliminates people? One that builds things to separate people, or one that embraces people? One that supports people? For that is your choices. Dearest beings of light, it is not an easy task, this one that you have before you. Go into yourself. Go into your heart and ask, who of these four people, because there are four and there are not just two, who of these four people will come closer to the future for your children or your grandchildren or your young people, for the indigo, for the crystalline? Who of these four people will carry that frequency of forward thinking, of creating something brand new, of love that has never been created before? That is indeed our quest for you. That is indeed our quest and our request. of you. So go into your own love, go into your own benevolence, go into the own magnificence that is in your heart. Dearest beings of light, you are the future. How would you like to live it? How would you like to see that happening? What would you love to experience in this capacity? What would you love to feel every day when you awaken? And turn on the good news channel and see the goodness in people instead of a lack of integrity. And see the honoring and respect of people instead of the destruction of people. That is your choice. And no matter what happens, to know that you, dearest being of light, still did your part. For you are the revolution. You are the evolution that is happening now on this planet into the new dimensional frequency. You are the ones we have been waiting for. So please, your voice can be heard. Against all odds, in some respects, but it still can be heard. Gently, with love and light, and the perseverance of the masters of this planet, the ascended ones, that all spoke of love. So be that evolutionary revolution for the new government, the new leaders, to pave the way for humanity to place a value on all people, all places, for one purpose, and that is love in this planet, on this planet, through this planet, and with this planet, which will radiate out to the galaxies. Dearest beings of light, you have your path carved out in front of you. We urge you to take those steps and trust. We love you deeply. We see your frustration. We see your thought of what difference does it make? So be the difference. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, Marilyn, so much for all that you said, all that you do, all that you have done with us and for us. It's a great privilege to have you as part of the team of channelers that we work with worldwide. I guess the next one would be Kryon, and so that'd be me. So we'll get ready for that now. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Indeed, coming up right now, soon, something that could be a game changer or not. Now, this depends upon those who feel one way or another in this very, very strong political atmosphere that you have in this culture, in this country right now. There are so many things that I would like to say around this and for this. And the first thing I will say is the times are different. Did you notice? You will always remember this. In 2020, what happened? Not just the election, but of course the pandemic and all that surrounded it, and all the issues that somehow seem to be new, and yet they're not. It's almost like many things have come to a head at this moment. And then also there was an election, and also a pandemic. I'd like to say that there is a premise that we teach, that there are no accidents. Truly, the things have come together in certain ways to push the envelope of what you might have done if they had not been here. In other words, they present themselves so they become important, especially in election time, looking at solutions. You probably are saying, well, Kryon, get with it, who's going to win? You may not hear that from me. The contest seemingly between the one with the hair and the one with no hair, or little hair, is a contest that you will decide. But let me tell you something. There are those who say, well, what's in the field at the moment, Kryon? I'm going to tell you what's in the field that you didn't expect in a moment. But let's also review a few years ago what was in the field with the one with the hair won. I sat in front of many who asked what was going to take place. And it simply was not in the field clearly, because that was called a wild card. So I want you to get used to a premise in these new energetic times that wild cards are often delivered in order to change things in a radical way. The pandemic is a wild card. The last election was a wild card. All of these things, again, to push you into areas you might not ever have gone otherwise. You might say, well, that sounds like intervention. Dear ones, it truly is, in the best way. You have free choice to start and stop things, to make things move any way you wish. But there's always been that which you would call intervention. Intervention in ways that Spirit would give you to push you into free choice that you might not have gone to otherwise, in subjects that are fairly old but need solution. And I think you know what I'm talking about. The wild card that might come here is not who is going to be elected. There is something over this election that I've not freely spoken of before because it wasn't quite time. And now that we are very close, I will tell you, it's almost like there's going to be a stage 2 to this election. And that I cannot tell you more about because it is mysterious, because of what might happen in either direction or either candidate. But there is something in addition to the election. And it may not be immediately, but dear ones, I'll tell you, that's what's in the field. Your free choice to choose a leader. That's understood. That's common. But what happens after it might be very much like a wild card. So this remains to be seen. What will that be and what will you do about it? I'd like to tell you more about the energy that looms before you now, an energy that truly might shape this election differently than ever before. The planet is going through, I would say, gyrations of change. And this is starting to upset many. There are those who are very tired of an old paradigm where things never get solved, and they want solution. Do you think either candidate is going to be that person, or carry that team who would go for those solutions. In the field, I would say not necessarily, because both of them represent old systems. Both of them come from old energy places. And the tendency is to simply keep on what you're doing, to say whatever is necessary, and then take the reins, and it's same old, same old. That is what is going to change. And that may play into the second part, that Act 2 that I'm telling you might occur all around what is going to be with this election. Something must take place that will push solutions that were never there before. Look for this first and foremost. It's not about who wins, the one with the hair, the one with less hair, as much as it is what happens after. In either party, what happens after. I'd like to tell you about this, which you call your election. This is not going to be the last old energy election, but elections in general are going to change. This, what I call old energy election, is one many times, we have said many times, that it's so different today. This election reflects perhaps the oldest energy that you could imagine. Here's what I mean. What kind of picture is painted of each side? It doesn't matter, dear ones, which side you're on. What's the picture that gets painted of the other side? Carefully painted, I might add. Carefully painted to fool you, both sides. Carefully painted so that you will think a certain way, even though perhaps the facts are not there or correct, both sides. And what you have is an old energy system that's about to break. It's a system of hatred. And I think you know that. Your forefathers didn't plan that. Active interchange on ideas is what they planned. But they never planned what is happening today. They never planned a scenario where there's so much negativity and so much hatred that parties would face off and make up things about each other and have the worst kind of mudslinging you've ever seen. Isn't this an indictment of an old energy about to change? It truly is. It's about to change. What you see about this election isn't who is going to win. Take a look at the apparatus. Take a look at the system that you've created. Take a look at a Congress that is so invested in stopping the other party that very little gets done for what they were designed to do. How do you like that? And what do you say about that? Dear citizens of this country, I would say to you, it's about time for a new kind of energy, a new kind, perhaps, of even an election. And I don't mean changing laws for the election. I mean something very, very different that citizens might decide to do. I'm going to take right now I'm going to take you 100 years from now. Some would say, will this country be here in 100 years? Dear ones, in the field, it says yes. And the reason is because this entire planet is going through a change, and the kind of change it's going through is it's beginning to correct things it should have corrected before because it has higher consciousness. The things that are out of integrity, have you watched some of those start to change, dear ones? You have, haven't you? Those who cannot get away with the same kind of things anymore because everyone is watching. Systems of bias are starting to surface that have always been there, and everyone is watching. and solutions are demanded instead of putting them in the drawer and shutting them. Elections. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like what happens. Perhaps half of you will, half of you won't. But that's not what I'm speaking of. The system itself is ugly. It's broken. It does not honor a patriot. It does not honor each of the candidates for the other side. It does not have any compassion or kindness at all. Take a look. See what you think. There are many old souls who say, well, I'm not going to vote. And you say, why? And they say, because it's ugly. And I don't want to be part of the ugliness that is here. There are those who say, well, you know, it really hasn't changed much. It's very American to go through this. Study your history. Not really, dear ones. There was a time when you could exchange ideas and yell across the aisle and then go to lunch with everybody. That's how it was designed. Not now. It's about to break. And you will see what I mean with this election, perhaps even the next one. But I have told you in the past that politics will change. So let's go 100 years from now, and I want you to plug in these two candidates to the scenario I'm going to give you, and we'll all have a good chuckle. Is it true, do you think, that consciousness can raise itself to a level of what I'm about to show you? And the idea of what I'm going to give you, the perception you might have of what I'm going to give you, you might say is laughable because it's hard to look up to a higher maturity. It's easy to look backwards and down to a lower one, but I'm about to show you something you don't expect. 100 years and maybe even a little change from that. 100 years or so from now, an election occurs. Let's say that you have the same two candidates only because it's fun to imagine the two with all of the entourage around each one of them participating in this. Now listen, here you go. There's going to be a debate. And here they come. The one with the hair and the one with lesser hair. And they sit across from each other in a desk that looks like a student desk, and they have a piece of paper and a pen. They show up and they shake hands, and they go to their desks. And the moderator says to them, all right, in a moment we're going to begin this debate, and before we begin the debate, as you recall, in this exercise, both of you are going to write 10 things on your paper. And those 10 things are going to be read to the public watching the debate before you start. Ready with your pencils, gentlemen or ladies. And the pencils come up, and the moderator says, here's what you're going to do, just so everyone remembers how this debate works. Each of you is going to write 10 things about the other candidate that would make them a good president. Are you with me? Can you see that happening? And they begin to write. My opponent is a patriot. He has done this and that. He loves his family dearly. He's going to do this well and that well. Not allowed to say I can do it better. 10 things about the other candidate that might make them a good president. And when they're done, the papers are handed in. They have to do it live. They have to do it right there in front of everyone. And the papers are handed in. The moderator begins to read those things, basically which are accolades and congratulations for their opponent. And then the debate begins. What has just occurred is an acknowledgement that there is compassion between the two, that there is maturity between the two, that they can see good things in the other one, because there are good things to see, dear ones. both of them wanting so much to be the leader because they love their country, both of them being patriots perhaps, having different ideas, different ways of management, different ways or ideas of what should happen. But one is not a devil and the other one is an angel, like they are today, depending upon what color, depending upon what party. And that starts to modify because there is the idea that compassion and kindness and maturity creates wonderful ideas and leadership that sticks and works. And even then, there will be so many disappointed with who wins and who loses. But there won't be the hatred or the idea that if one loses, you're going to leave the country, or that you're going to hate people for a while because someone else didn't lose. Your candidate lost, so you're going to hate everyone. That's what you have today. An investment in darkness in this election. Watch it. Watch it. That is going away eventually, dear ones, into a place that is a lot more mature. I just gave you the exercise. If you think about it, I don't know that either candidate today could actually do what I just described. I'm not sure that they could even list three, because they are invested so much in hatred of the other side. I ask you, citizens of this country, of your culture, is this what you really want? Do you want this to continue in this way? It's a folly for you to think if you get the right one in office that all this would change. It won't. It marches forward in darkness. It just gets worse. So it's those youngsters who will come up and those Congress people, men and women. It's the general public which will demand certain kinds of changes and integrity. And you're going to see it first in how the campaigns are run, in the billboards, in that, with a lack of hatred in the idea that you can exchange thoughts on how to without devastating the life of another person, without making up things that make them look even worse than you think they are. Is that really what you want? Either side, I ask you. Citizens, is that really what you want? Or would you like something that made a little more sense? That you could talk about the ways to do things and have different ideas without assassinating one another, without calling names, or without being so angry that you can't even speak to your friends anymore because they have a different idea than you do. And so what I am telling you is this: there is a new world coming. And what you're starting to see in that which is the Me Too movement, what you're starting to see with the church starting to clean up that which was unconscionable, with kids being put upon. All of these things are starting to show themselves so clearly. The sexual slave traffic that is rampant on this planet is going to show itself soon. And you're going to be shocked at who's funding it. All of these things coming out of the closet. And politics will be another. It's time to clean up all these things, and you will, with maturity, not violence, with good ideas that work, that make solutions finally, instead of simply keeping it going the way it was. Stand by for an interesting ride. I am Kryon, in love with humanity that is changing before your eyes. And so it is. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the views of the three masters that we brought to you. Until we see you again, bye-bye.